So, today we're gonna go through some quotes, thoughts, things, some whatever. And we're gonna have a look at it in terms of Goodreads quotes or Goodreads quotes. Goodreads Choice Awards. You can vote there, apparently, so you can see there in the top. But the thing is, we're gonna go ahead from, it's always the same dude. We're gonna go from the back to the front just because maybe and probably people have already seen like what is in the very front of this whole list, and therefore I'm gonna go through it from the back to the front. And the first one is Salman Ahmed Shaikh, I guess, reflections on the origins in the post-COVID-19 world. Sometimes question is raised at what is the purpose of the universe and other species. Why there was a wait for billions of years before humans began to exist in the universe? What is the purpose of millions of other life forms in animals and plants? Why there is no life in other planets? First of all, time is a relative concept. Thus, humans' conception of time on planet Earth is just how we experience movement of Earth around Sun and about its own axis. Venus and Mercury take a longer time to fully rotate about their axis than to complete their orbits around Sun. This means Venus and Mercury have days that last longer than their years, i.e. orbiting around Sun is faster, which determines years, and rotation around their axis is slower, which determines days. Which is something that's incredibly interesting if you think about it. Then there's another quote by the same person. Human characters in the show are given more leverage by the producer and director to play out their roles in the way they want. Some humans miscalculate this freedom, its limits, and their own potential. They use the delegated authority to forget, disregard, downplay, undermine, and even get rid of the producer and director. Some other non-living and apparently weaker and smaller characters are sometimes used by the director to remind humans to be in the show. It is up to humans to paint their destiny. If they follow the director's guidelines, they can be signed for an even greater show, which will begin for never ending again, and which will give righteous people with virtuous behavior the chance to play out their roles without any grief, sorrow, and limits. Be a good person. This is what I'm getting out of it. Be a fucking good person. I'm gonna skip to like 96 because I don't only want to have the same dude. But apparently it's often the case that the same person is just talking about something. So I'm gonna pick some random things. I do hope that there's going to be some things that are on your way wherever you're heading towards, wherever you are. And, for all the podcast listeners, you might be listening to this while you're walking around, while you're sitting around, while you're driving around. I don't essentially know. Balthazar Gracian, How to Use Your Enemies. There is no greater absurdity than taking everything seriously. Similarly, it's stupid to take things to heart that don't concern you and not to take it to heart those that are important. Again, the same person. Not all truths can be spoken, some because they are important to me, others to someone else. What? Some because they are important to me, others to someone else. Again, the same dude. Don't be brittle as glass in dealing with people and especially with friends. Some people crack easily, revealing their fragility. They fill up with offense and fill others with annoyance. They reveal a nature so pretty and sensitive that it tolerates nothing, in jest or in earnest. The slightest thing offends them, so insults are never necessary. Insults. Those who have dealings with them have to treat carefully, always attending to their sensibilities and adjusting to their temperaments, since the slightest snub annoys them. And I want to point out, adjust to the person that you're talking to, because we all are different. We are seeing things in different lights and we are acting differently. So it just only makes sense that you're dealing with the person in a different way than you're dealing with another person. Triviality is annoying and in a person's character tedious. To keep coming back to disagreement is a kind of mania. Or mania, whatever. Mania. By Junya, which I don't know who this is, but anyway. Suppose 10 different sculpture artists are thinking about what they're going to sculpt next. If you show them a rough rock, they won't see rock. They will see what they're thinking of carving from it. Similarly, the universe is just a rough rock. Different souls see different things in it. So be fucking fine with that, You're gonna see some things in something, and somebody else might not think about anything kind of related to whatever the fuck you're having on your mind. So it's totally fine and totally okay and totally super duper if you're thinking about something and if you are seeing something other people don't see. Unless it is some hallucinational things, then you should really check yourself. Again, think again about your home address. It says, I don't know where is my home, but there are this many houses outside it. There is the street outside it. There is this locality, this state, this country, this planet outside it. You only know what is inside your home. You only know what is outside your home. You don't know where exactly it is. I don't really get that, but anyway. If you can perceive something with all your 5 senses, you call that thing real. If you still doubt it, senses say, ask other people, they can confirm that what you see is real. But those other people are also being perceived by you through your 5 senses only. Who will confirm that they are real? You can be sure only about your own existence, others may be just an illusion. That's actually kind of completely the case, as dumb and as interesting as it might sound, but why is this in Spanish? It's a pity, because it's by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And one day we get addicted to our loneliness. Aviet das. Aviet. Be a wildflower among the fake ones. Suppose your name is Paramadma and you are watching a movie. The character suddenly starts calling your name. He wants to come out of the screen and meet you. What would you suggest him? You would say, watch your character like I am watching you. Soon you will realize that you're sitting beside me, or perhaps you are me. Why is it in Netherlandish? If this is even a case, I don't fucking know. Let's skip a bit and see. Let's go to 94, page 94. The link is going to be down in the description for this whole thing, for this whole quotes library, I would say. So yeah, Anthony T. Hinks. I can't work with idiots. That's why I work from home and got rid of all the mirrors. Daniel Lynn Lewis. If a person describes themselves as an appreciable person, why do they still show signs of inconsideration, aggression, and disregard other people? What? Today my reading is pretty off. As you can see, I look a little bit shit, to be honest. But anyway, if a person describes themselves as an appreciable person, why do they still show signs of inconsideration, aggression, and disregard other people's ideology? I mean, are people really that unintelligent by their own disrespectful ways of thinking? Respect others, This is something that I've been thinking about and talking about today already. But please, 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 please do me the favor and think of other people and think about their feelings, respect them, and just try to live with them. You don't have to be friends with everybody, but you can appreciate, accept, and also respect everybody. Quite everybody. The next, Meg Volita, the female persuasion. If you want more to do, said Kim, then do more. That's the rule of thumb in any workplace. Yes, motherfucker. And also if you want to do more in your private life, work-wise, get yourself a hobby, get yourself to do something, and do that. You can record something, you can talk about something, you can practice something, you can play something, you can just do so many things. You could go outside, doing something as I am, The funny thing is, by the way, it is 3 p.m. now. And the sun is already looking like it's fucking 5 p.m. So, what does this tell us? That things are rather strange, that things are rather interesting. But yeah, anyway. Foundations are meant to be built and walls are meant to be pulled down. Daniel Lynn Lewis once again, great-hearted leaders are procreated to provide others with generosity, hospitality, and friendliness. I truthfully believe we need more integrity and responsibility like that in this troublesome world. Yeah, I would say so as well. Then once again, the same person, Patrick Harper, the secret tradition of the soul. Imagination, not reason, is the chief faculty of the soul. Yeah, because if you can imagine that you are a good person, that you are something, then you are something. Edmund Morris, The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt. The one plain duty of every man is to face the future as he faces the present, regardless of what it may have in store for him, turning toward the light as he sees the light, to play his part manually or manfully as a man among men. I want to repeat it, but I want to point out that it is not only meant for men, but it is also meant for women. The one plain duty of every man is to face the future as he faces the present, regardless of what it may have in store for him, turning toward the light as he sees the light, to play his part manfully as a man among men. Yeah, think about that. Keep that in mind. I would say this as well. It is like accepting what it is. It is armo fati to some degree. It is love faith, love your faith, love whatever you're fucking encountering at a time. It is what it is. You can't change it. You can only fucking change how you think about things. So motherfucking keep that in mind and never ever fucking forget that. I still forget that. I do want to admit that. I do want to point that out. I still forget about that. But I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. Because it is an important thing. It is something to always keep in mind. Your imagination is fucking incredibly powerful. Death is a portal into that greater reality that can already be glimpsed in this world as an imaginative experience of the other world. Death is not the opposite of life, but of birth. Life is a continuous realm of which we are born, that, as Plato says, we can dimly remember during our existence and to which we return when we die. To that totality of life, compared to which mortal existence seems but a dreamlike fragment. Well, the task of the human soul is simply to return from its exile in our shadowy, less than real material world to an aesthetic or ecstatic union with the one source of all reality. Each of us is an individual manifestation of the collective world soul. We are also and paradoxically contained by the world soul, like droplets in the ocean. And only the same person once again, so I'm going to skip a bit, so that we can get something else as well. There's actually some really fucking amazing quotes there. And there's actually one by Marcus Aurelius. Street and withdraw into yourself. Our master reason asks no more than to act justly and thereby to achieve calm. Gaston Bachelard, The Poetics of Space. The philosophy of poetry must acknowledge that the poetic act has no past, at least no recent past, in which its preparation and appearance could be followed. Pierre-Joseph Proudhon, Théorie de la propriété. La propriété c'est le vous. Le vous. Or something. I don't know. I can't speak French. Anyway, Robert Pirsig in Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Well, the primitive tribes permitted far less individual freedom than does modern society. Ancient wars were committed with far less moral justification than modern ones. A technology that produces debris can find and is finding ways of disposing of it without ecological upset, and the schoolbook pictures of primitive man sometimes omit some of the detractions of his primitive life. The pain, the disease, famine, the hard labor needed just to stay alive. From that agony of bare existence to modern life can be soberly described only as upward progress, and the sole agent for this progress is quite clearly reason itself. Alan Wilson Watts, The Essential Alan Watts. I have always thought that all philosophical debates are ultimately between the partisans of structure and the partisans of goo. What the fuck? Harry G. Frankfurt, The Reason of Love. Morality can provide at most only a severely limited and insufficient answer to the question of how a person should live. Yeah. Herman Melville, Moby Dick, or The Whale. Is it not curious that so vast a being as the whale should see the world through a small an eye, and hear the thunder through an ear which is smaller than a hare's or heart's? But if his eyes were broad as the lens of Herschel's great telescope, and his ears capacious as the porches of cathedrals, would that make him any longer of sight or sharper of hearing? Not at all. why then do you try to enlarge your mind? Subtilize it. What does subtilize even mean? I don't fucking know. Make more subtle, refine. He split and subtilized words. Refine, I see. So I want to read it again because I think it is actually pretty good. Is it not curious that so vast a being as the whale should see the world through so small an eye, and hear the thunder through an ear which is smaller than a hair's or heart's? But if his eyes were broad, can I just broad as the lens of Herschel's great telescope, and his ears capacious as the porches of cathedrals, would that make him any longer of sight or sharper of hearing? Not at all. Why then do you try to enlarge your mind? Well, I don't know. Maybe you can get something out of it. I don't. Christoph Koch, or Koch, whatever. Cook. Historically, philosophy does not have an impressive track record of answering questions about the natural world in a decisive manner. Does it? I don't know. I think it really comes out to how you think about it. I just really love philosophy. I don't know why. Maybe it just gives me, or seems to give me, some answers to things that I'm thinking about, having on my mind, and so on and so on and so on. But yeah, I still think that I'm going to end the episode there, so I wish you the best health of happiness and all success, and also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and then being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. 3 other questions that I have you are: why are you here, what are you trying to change, and what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are going to show you purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is a pretty cool thing as well. And one last thought that I'm having you is, what could you essentially say to another person that is indeed going to change your life? And with that being said, hopefully we'll see you next time. So bye bye.